And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:06 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, the Gavin Newsom media tour continues. Gavin sat down in his old office in San Francisco City Hall for a one-on-one with ABC News' Jonathan Karl. And John Karl asked Gavin Newsom, what is the fairest criticism of you? And even I didn't expect this answer.
I've been in a hurry in terms of just go. And I think, honestly, if I absorbed a sort of reflective criticism of myself, because I hold myself to a higher level of accountability in expression of critique, I assure you, trust me on that, that I often think that, there's an old African proverb.
No!
He's going to do that.
I quote all the time, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think some of the mistakes I've made in the past is this desire just to go. And I haven't brought enough people along to institutionalize some of that progress or change that at least I believe we're promoting.
That's the criticism he says is fair?
This is like a job interview for him. What's a criticism of yourself? Well, I just work too damn hard. I don't take enough time off for me. Not enough time at the spa. Not enough time soaking in the hot tub. Not enough time on the beach. Not enough me time.
The criticism of me is, even though I say the old African proverb every 10 seconds, I don't follow it.
Did you see one exchange between the two of them where Karl asked him about looking demonic?
Yes. Okay. Maybe during a break I'll pull that up. But John Karl asked him questions about people who compare him to the American Psycho Patrick Bateman. That I will pull during a break. The other interesting part of this was because they were in San Francisco, John Karl was asking Gavin about San Francisco crime trends, and Gavin claims that his office fully supported the recall of Chesa Boudin. Do you remember that?
No. Just like Villaraigosa claims that he supported 36. And Katie Porter did the same thing.
Well, and let's not forget Chesa Boudin's predecessor, the godfather of progressive DAs, George Gascon, was essentially created by Gavin Newsom when Gavin Newsom appointed then police chief Gascon to the DA's job.
I'm telling you, he's going to try to rewrite history across the board. You watch. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, let's start today's show off with an update on a story we brought you earlier this week regarding a police chief in California that doesn't even live in California.
This is in Milbrae in San Mateo County. Milbrae's police department is actually run by the San Mateo County Sheriff's Department. And before she was fired, Sheriff Christina Corpus appointed a guy from the Sheriff's Department to run that office, the police department in Milbrae, a job that pays, I believe, like $400,000. And thanks to the incredible reporting from ABC7's Dan Noyes, what do we find out? The police chief in Milbrae lives in Idaho, and he's got a little cot in the office with a jug of liquor that he sleeps in during the week.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza had a carpenter come in and build him shelves underneath his desk because he would spend so much time napping there?
That's exactly what this is like. Well, that story went everywhere because even the average person that doesn't pay too much attention to the news can't help but try to figure out why we're paying a police chief that doesn't live in the same state that he's supposed to be in charge of.
Well, Dan Noyes is the best.
Here's more with Dan Noyes and ABC7 in the Bay.
The mayor of Milbrae is calling for a thorough investigation after the I-Team reported that his police chief, Eamon Allen, installed beds in the police station, has been living there on workdays.
Boy, you're a workaholic. You never go home. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Do you think he's got like those old-timey old man pajamas that he changes into with a nightcap as he's turning in for the night at the station?
Like Scrooge.
And commuting to his home in Idaho.
Yeah, and that needs to be proven. I still need to be able to get the facts of those allegations. And, I have not heard from the chief, so that's...
Well, where are you sending his checks? Because he only has one address.
My guess is it's direct deposited.
I have not heard from the chief, so that's important.
But it's been 5 days since my first report, and Chief Allen was sitting there during the city council's public comment. He left right after, and I caught up with him at the police station's front door.
Eamon, have you found a place to stay besides the police station?
Why'd you leave the meeting so early? Traffic bad going home?
Well, he took some sleep tea and it was about to kick in.
Eamon, have you found a place to stay besides the police station? Want to say? You have any comments about the report?
Beyond the issue of using taxpayer facilities for personal benefit, this raises questions about a first responder with a 646-mile drive to work or an hour and 35-minute flight.
Assuming it's not delayed or canceled.
I think the Boise airport has a lounge.
Maybe a Centurion lounge.
Not able to return to work on short notice in the event of an emergency is ridiculous.
The city of Milbrae contracts with the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services. Eamon Allen acts as Milbrae police chief, but he's also a sheriff's captain. Tensions rose over this contract.
There is so much corruption going on in that sheriff's department, and it took them a year and a half just to fire the sheriff.
It's one thing if you have a private business, if you have a family business, and there's nepotism going on, where people who aren't exactly deserving of a position get one. It's a private business. You can do whatever you want. But if it's a public agency, you're not supposed to hand these positions out as if they're plums to relatives. It's not supposed to work that way.
Tensions rose over this controversy at last night's Board of Supervisors meeting.
And I'm going to clarify something that I wish, frankly, our board president would have when he spoke to the press about
Supervisor Noelia Corzo criticized Board President David Canepa because he expressed concern about the issue in my original report.
Wait, you're pissed at another supervisor for saying, wow, Dan, that's outrageous.
It goes to show you who's calling the shots.
If someone is living out of county or out of state, they have to pay for their own lodging. Meaning, San Mateo County is not a Holiday Inn.
Hey, there are plenty of jobs in this state where you can work remotely. In fact, I advocate for that, and I think it would make traffic a hell of a lot better in the entire state. But police chief is not one of them.
No, you have to be there to put the bad guy in the back of the black and white and go to the donut shop.
And I want to make sure the public knows that it is actually very common practice for most law enforcement agencies, including ours, to have sleeping quarters available to their staff.
Yeah, but that's not what this is.
She must be doing the bidding of the union.
Canepa explained he has no issue having beds available to deputies who work a night shift and must appear in court the next morning, for example. But he has questions about sheriff's employees with homes far out of state who stay here on the county dime during the work week.
And let's not forget that handle of liquor that was in the bedroom.
What happens if there's a 7.5 earthquake on a Saturday and you need to mobilize your police department because you have looting going on, you have, freeways that collapse, you have buildings that are red tagged, you have maybe fires, lots of problems. How can you deal with that if you're in a different state?
To equate this to a recent controversy in Southern California, this is like if Karen Bass went to Ghana every weekend.
But what mayor would go to Ghana when something sensitive could happen?
If you don't believe looking into something like this isn't good policy, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, point of order.
See, there's a lot of crookedness going on in this board of supervisors, too, and they thought by firing the crooked sheriff, which, again, took a year and a half, that it would absolve them of any of the problems going on in San Mateo County. Not so much.
But the one they're all piling on is the one who said this is a problem?
Yes.
Point
Okay.
of order.
Yes,
Done,
let's
guys.
continue.
Point of order. Please.
So I think I've made my point very clear.
You guys have both made your points. We're moving on.
Mr. Mueller, I'm chairing the meeting respectfully.
Then
Thank you.
please
Thank you,
chair it.
Barrett.
Then
Thank you.
chair it now.
Thank you. Respectfully. Thank you.
Rude.
Boy, that's not even passive aggressive. That's overtly aggressive.
I'm telling you, San Mateo County, just based on its proximity to the bigger counties that get so much more attention, you have a lot of opportunities for a lot of crooked behavior because there's just not enough eyeballs to pay attention to what's going on there.
No, this is like Long Beach or all of those cities along the 710 freeway. Because L.A. is the 800-pound gorilla, if you're the L.A. Times or you're the TV stations, radio stations, you spend your resources on L.A. because that's where most people live. That's the biggest city in the county. And you don't have unlimited resources, so you can't follow what's going on in these other cities. And that's what's going on in the Bay Area. The crooks are benefiting in the East Bay because the newspaper doesn't have the ability to look into their standards and practices.
In the board meeting, Supervisor Corzo did not mention the most important issue of all. How can these first responders quickly get to a catastrophic event, a mass shooting or an earthquake, for example, if they are at home, out of state, hundreds of miles away? Investigations are moving forward on the city and county level, and we'll keep you up to date.
And the other thing that was uncovered in that Dan Noyes piece that's so important is, yes, you've got the most ridiculous situation of the appointed police chief in Milbrae who makes over $400,000, who lives in Idaho, but he comes from the sheriff's department, and Dan Noyes' investigation found several employees that work for the San Mateo Sheriff's Department live in other states, whether it be Nevada, Arizona, or there's one guy in Tennessee who's on the bomb squad.
You can't even get a direct flight to Oakland. You have to connect.
I'm sure now that more people are paying attention to this, there's a whole lot more to be uncovered, and not just what's going on in Milbrae, but San Mateo County as a whole. As much as, locally in San Mateo County, the Christina Corpus story got a little bit of attention there. Nationally and even statewide, not that many people paid attention to it. It was a little too confusing as to what exactly she did and why she was arranging flights with her chief of staff to meet up in Hawaii at a resort and a whole bunch of other stuff. But just the sheer outrageousness of a police chief that lives 2 states over is enough that people are finally paying attention to what's going on in San Mateo County.
And meanwhile, while all of this is going on in the East Bay, there were 9 Oakland gang members with ties to the Mexican mafia who are in the country illegally that were arrested by the feds.
This was a big bust. For more, here's Cron 4.
East Bay, where an FBI raid at an Oakland home this morning took place. They're saying this is part of a gang-related investigation into charges for murder and other related crimes. Cron 4's Teresa Estacio has the details from Oakland.
On Wednesday around 4 a.m., FBI agents stormed a home on Coloma Street and Fruitvale Avenue in the Upper Diamond District in Oakland.
Bedroom window is adjacent to the home that's on this.
This is like the first time in forever that there's an FBI raid in Oakland and it's not a politician's house.
I wonder if we're going to be allowed to deport these Mexican mafia members or if that's separating families too.
The side of the house, and I heard banging, and then I heard the FBI say FBI search warrant really loud.
The FBI confirming the raid was part of a sweeping federal indictment, netting 9 suspects on charges of racketeering, conspiracy in connection with 2 murders, 3 attempted murders, drug smuggling, gun running, and other related.
Gun running? Who are they, Leland Yee?
They're running the guns that Americans won't run.
Gun running and other related crimes.
Hi, do you have anything to say about what happened here this morning?
Throughout the morning, FBI agents collected evidence from this home as well as from 2 cars. This white truck has plates registered to Edwin Cano Merida, one of the suspects arrested. The Department of Justice sharing details of their investigation, claiming the 9 suspects were part of 2 gangs and had bigger ties to the Mexican cartel. In a statement, United States Attorney Craig Misakian said, quote, "Like people everywhere, the residents of Oakland deserve safe and peaceful neighborhoods, not ones filled with fear and senseless violence," end quote.
Well, can you tell that to the current makeup of the Oakland City Council and the mayor?
Well, and keep in mind, these are professional criminals. And so many of these crime stories that we talk about, particularly in Oakland and other places in the East Bay, when you look at what happened, you say to yourself, okay, this isn't some teenager who's out for a good time. This isn't some person who is stealing to feed their family. These are professional criminals who are doing this with training. And they're dangerous people. That's who just got arrested by the feds in Oakland.
FBI acting special agent in charge, Matt Cobo, adding in a statement, quote, "The alleged criminal activity of these gang members has plagued Oakland's neighborhoods and put innocent residents at risk," end quote.
I wonder between the 9 of them, how many Kias they've stolen.
More than Cal Worthington has on his lot.
Oakland police also aided in the raid. 6 suspects were arrested Wednesday, 2 already in custody, and 1 suspect has not been arrested. The FBI would not elaborate, but says several are unlawfully residing in the United States.
Oh, so there's also that.
Yeah, they're here illegally.
The suspects are due to appear in court Thursday. In Oakland, Teresa Stasio, KRON 4 News.
So there you go. The FBI conducting a huge raid, getting 9 illegal alien gang members with ties to the cartels off the streets of Oakland.
I seriously wonder if Gavin Newsom is going to object to this, or he's just going to pretend like it never happened. Because usually when something like this happens, the politicians all weigh in on it. But so far, it's been crickets from Sacramento. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's episode, or maybe you want to go back and listen to the initial report about that police chief living out of state, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could even do a Google on the YouTube. Get the KABC app, get the KSFO app, or get the KMJ Now app. We're on that station Saturdays at 2. If you're totally caught up and you've listened to everything, well then...
Wow, unbelievable.
We're back in a jiffy right here on The John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Mike in San Mateo. Mike, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I've lived in San Mateo County for about 50 years, and it is a pretty corrupt county. The Board of Supervisors has a new member, Jackie Spear. Her claim to fame was that she was Leo Ryan's girlfriend. Leo Ryan got killed in Guyana by Jim Jones a couple decades back. And they just don't listen to the residents. I've emailed them, I telephone them, and they don't return my call. The sheriff is just totally disappeared. The law enforcement, traffic enforcement, parking enforcement in the county has disappeared. And you never see them. I don't know what they're doing out there. And San Mateo County has one of the highest sales tax and taxes in the whole Bay Area. And the people are just, I don't know what the people are doing out here. I think they only see what they want to see because they keep voting for them.
Here's a question for you, sir. Does Jackie Spear live in San Mateo County? And I asked that question because when I was working at CNN, and I hope I'm not talking out of school here, but when I was working at CNN, I would have to go to a satellite studio to do my hits on the shows. So you see someone on cable news and you see a background of a city skyline and you know they're not in the studio, they're someplace else. Well, I would do that, and I would do it from the Coachella Valley. There was a studio right next to Palm Springs Airport. So there would be palm trees behind me when I was on CNN. It looked like I was on live from Gilligan's Island. And when you go in there a lot, and I went in there all the time because I worked for CNN at the time, you see the schedule that's on the wall. You know who else is going to be in there. So I know that Barbara Boxer uses the same studio, and Suzanne Summers at the time uses studio, and Rick Grinnell, a bunch of other people who lived out here or owned a home out here would use that studio. One of the names that I saw on that list all the time was Jackie Spear. Jackie Spear was constantly on cable news from Palm Springs. And I asked one of the people who worked there what the deal was, because I said, now, I know she represents San Mateo County in the House, and I know she has a residence in Washington, but why is she here all the time? And they just kind of smiled and said, you notice you don't see palm tree backdrops behind her. I guess she would tell them to put a different backdrop so it just looked like a newsroom, or it looked like, I don't know, something that could be from anywhere, so you couldn't tell that she was in Palm Springs. But her name was on that list so often, I made a mental note to myself, I wonder if this woman even lives in her district.
Yeah, I bet you she doesn't, because there's nothing in it in the newspaper. And I know the sheriff makes it almost $400,000 a year. And so the San Mateo County, they want to have the power to hire and fire any sheriff there is. And before that, the people got to vote for the sheriff. But they're just power hungry. They're control freaks, total control freaks.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Got a lot of emails coming in, especially on the police chief in Milbrae. Let's start with this one from Al in Napa. Guys, Milbrae has been dirty, dirty, dirty since the mid-'90s when I worked with Coloma, South City, San Bruno against Milbrae to get BART redesigned and re-engineered, extended from Daly City to SFO and through Milbrae to Burlingame. The other cities wanted no BART unless they received millions of mitigation funds for various city projects. But mucky little Milbrae wanted the whole new downtown center for free from the combined BART, Caltrain, state, and federal funding, billions of other taxes. You guys are totally right about San Mateo County hiding in the Bay Marsh weeds and reeds, getting away with tons of political poop. And then this other email came in, Johnny, and it comes from one of our regular emails in the Bay, Soma Wally. Soma Wally sent me a video that I wish I knew about, because Dan Noyes has been getting in the face of politicians in the Bay Area for a very, 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 very long time. And Soma Wally sent me a video of Dan Noyes pissing off then Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this.
Because at the time, there was a report about the then Mayor Gavin Newsom having a little bit of a drinking problem.
Well, there's still a lot about that we don't know, because he claims he went to rehab, but then he said that he drinks a glass of wine watching the nightly news every night. And then one of his friends, the agent, the sports agent, told Bloomberg that after the LA fires and Gavin Newsom was being blamed for it, he was so distraught he drank an entire bottle of tequila in one night.
So this video is almost 20 years old, so the sound quality's not great, but you get a little taste.
I appreciate that. The only other question I have is, it hasn't been a very easy week for you, and I'm wondering whether you have any comment on the Mateo and Roth story about the drinking.
Thank you very much. That was a great cheap shot. You can't help yourself.
I'm telling you, this guy is so thin-skinned.
That was a great cheap shot. You can't help yourself. You cannot. Just know, for the record, it's increasingly impossible to have a conversation. Mayor's out there.
It's increasingly impossible to have a conversation with you, he says to Dan Noyes.
If you don't report on him in a glowing way, you are the enemy.
Conversation. Mayor's out there. Mayor was out there.
Just know it's not personal when I walk by you. You just send some other reporters. It's going to be a lot easier now.
Mayor's not.
I can sense with a lot of other reporters it's going to be a lot easier. He's actively saying, I'm going to ignore ABC 7.
And this is what he does. This is exactly what he does in Sacramento, too. If you print something he doesn't like, you're dead to him.
Mayor's not personal here either.
Towards Channel 7.
I'm sorry?
You keep missing consistently a lot of facts because your opinion is so enthusiastic to get in the way on facts.
You're missing a whole bunch of facts because you're so enthusiastic to get in the way. This is what he's saying to an investigative reporter who just asked for Gavin for a comment on a story reporting that the then mayor of San Francisco liked the sauce.
And Dan, let me tell you, the investigation was not helped by a lot of things that are in the report. Just stating that factually as well.
It's just a story, Mayor.
Well, what Newsom did there was kind of a threat. I'm not going to let you do your job. I know your job is to cover City Hall. You better have someone else do it because we're going to cut you out.
Now, here's what's fun about YouTube. That happened to be a link to someone recording that footage from ABC 7 16, 17 years ago. And now the YouTube algorithm sees that I like videos about Gavin Newsom from 16 or 17 years ago. So, Johnny, you want to guess what it suggested for me?
Oh, dear.
Here's a report from KCRA 16 years ago about a San Francisco supervisor accusing Gavin Newsom, the then mayor, of having a cocaine problem.
Whoa.
I know this is old, but we have to play it.
Offensive, sleazy, and the cheapest of cheap shots. That's how San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom has responded to accusations of cocaine use.
I'll tell you, he talks so fast, I would believe it.
A San Francisco supervisor made...
I don't think he does it now, but when he was in his 20s and he was running the wine shops in San Francisco, you're telling me there was never any booger sugar?
He looked like a 1980 stockbroker, too.
A San Francisco supervisor made the accusation this week. Diane Dwyer explains the very personal and bitter battle that brought Bay Area politics to a new low.
This show should have been on in the Bay 20 years ago. There, I said it.
Whenever election day is, this is what you're going to see.
Supervisor Chris Daley and Mayor Gavin Newsom battle in public often, but what happened this week was far more personal. It happened at a Board of Supervisors meeting when Daley was arguing to save a substance abuse program from mayoral budget cuts.
Wait a second. Gavin, when he was mayor of San Francisco, was cutting drug treatment? That totally tracks.
100%.
While the mayor of San Francisco artfully dodges every question about allegations in his own cocaine use.
Politics was a lot more fun back then.
Well, in San Francisco, politics has always been more fun to cover than Los Angeles politics.
The audience was even taken aback, and Newsom shot back.
And I now am associated with something that I don't do, never have, not even in the realm of reason would someone even accuse me of this.
Wait, this is when you were married to Guilfoyle, dude.
Isn't that when he did the bearskin rug picture?
Yes.
Daley says he has no evidence Newsom has ever used cocaine, but he defended his statement when he appeared on NBC 11's The Bay Area at 5.
And given that the mayor has admitted to having a substance abuse problem with alcohol, I guess white wine.
Who has a problem with Pinot Grigio?
I always thought Gavin is a red drinker.
With Pinot Grigio, I don't think you can drink enough of it to get drunk because you have 2 sips and you're going to the bathroom.
why shouldn't every San Franciscan have the opportunity to get the help that they need?
Add in an extortion case at City Hall and a recall, and political consultants here say it's classic for San Francisco.
It may serve to create interest, oddly, that this is a interesting dynamic, even little weird city, that all our brawls tend to be covered by the press in a very hearty way.
Peace on our streets!
Oh, I would have killed for us to be on in the Bay in 2007.
Oh, could you imagine? Can you imagine the caller topics we could do?
But
we could still do them.
But people we talked to taking part in a peace march in the Western Addition, where there's been 8 shootings in 3 days, say they've had enough.
The citizens out here suffering because the politicians are spending too much time bickering amongst each other, and it needs to stop. Because it's not about them, it's about the community.
The politicians...
No, it's about did Gavin do blow?
And he seemed very upset at that allegation.
The politicians insist they want to focus on the community too, but...
I'm being sucked into it, and I haven't figured the way out yet. So all I can do is defend, and that's what I'm trying to do.
And that was Diane Dwyer reporting. Newsom has sent a letter to the Board of Supervisors president requesting that the board address Daley's conduct.
Wow. Because he alleged during a supervisors meeting that Gavin's a cokehead.
I love that it happened in an official meeting, too, and not just in the break room.
Well, you know, we have a lot of listeners. You know, we discovered this the other day when we were talking about Gavin's childhood that he keeps wanting to bring up in this book that he's writing, that there's a lot of people that can they can corroborate or discorroborate those stories. I bet you there's people up there who were in Gavin's wine shop in the day, who saw him in the business circles. There might be somebody listening right now that knows if Gavin ever partook with a little booger sugar.
Well, now that he's a presidential candidate, if he has polling that suggests that a certain percentage of American families have someone who had substance abuse problems in the family and it makes him more relatable, then he'll come out and acknowledge it.
Oh, boy. In the last 10 minutes, Soma Wally sent me even more old Gavin interviews where he gets pissed off. I might need to listen to a couple during the break and see if there's anything else worth bringing to you today. But this is a fun rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, no kidding. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. So, Randy, how's that YouTube rabbit hole treating you?
Now a whole bunch of people are emailing us. A lot of the same videos, too. Susan's writing in. Soma Wally's writing in. Here's an interview with Hank Plant, formerly of KPIX, and Gavin Newsom after he dropped out of the governor's race the first time. And apparently he had refused to do press interviews for quite a while because this is around the allegations of the drinking and the affair with the campaign manager's wife. And let's just play a little bit of this. You know, let's go back in that Wayback Machine.
San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom is breaking his silence tonight. It was nearly a month ago that he dropped out of the governor's race. He hasn't held any.
When Jerry Brown said, no.
Well, he would have crushed him.
He hasn't held any official public events or talked to the media since, leading many to ask, what's going on? But that changed today. CBS 5 political editor Hank Plant sat down with the mayor for a one-on-one interview.
The mayor used the occasion of the city's $500 million deficit to start doing interviews again.
Wow, things really don't change.
The hairstyles do, the clothes do, but that's about it.
But of course, we began with questions about his uncharacteristic absence from the public limelight.
Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Let me start by asking you, where have you been?
Ooh, I can tell you right now he's not going to like that.
$522.2 million shortfall.
That wasn't the question.
Nope.
Last year we had a 570. Wait a minute. 5.6. Hank, I'm here to talk about tomorrow, today and tomorrow. Now, yesterday I've been working my tail off. I've been out. I think I had 69 public events in the last 2.5 weeks.
Well, he really used to kind of put on a Southern drawl.
He did, which is strange because he wasn't looking for Southern votes when he was mayor of San Francisco.
Now, yesterday I've been working my tail off. I've been out. I think I had 69 public events.
Maybe he was watching a lot of McConaughey movies.
Could be.
Now, yesterday, I've been working my tail off. I've been out. I think I had 69 public events in the last 2.5 weeks.
You know, I heard you say that on the radio today,
yeah.
and then I asked your staff, well, where's the printout? Where are these events? And your press person said, well, this is stuff he just goes to.
Yeah, these are all public events,
Right.
yeah. So,
But look, you know the criticism that you have been dodging, not just the press, but also the public, that you have been sulking.
Ooh.
This again
Poking the bear.
was right after Gavin dropped out of his first run for the governor. Then had to go be lieutenant governor and host that TV show with Elon Musk.
After dropping out of the governor's race, that you're having a temper tantrum. What do you want to say about it?
I want to say that I've been working my tail off. I've been here.
You just said that.
Oh, he's going to repeat it.
Focused in San Francisco. I think I was.
This is like Katie Porter's I should have done better.
Focused in San Francisco. I think I was gone 2 days out of the city in the last 3 weeks. We've done 69 public events. I've been as engaged or more engaged than ever. I don't read the press.
That's a lie.
That's all he does is read the press.
It is comical, some of the things that have been written.
So the cartoon.
Wait, then how would you know? How can you say I don't read the press and then follow it up with it's comical what they're writing about me?
He contradicts himself a lot. That also hasn't changed.
I don't read the press. It is comical, some of the things that have been written.
So the cartoon in the Chronicle that depicted you as a crying baby with the headline, Mayor, Mayor, off the wall. You didn't see that?
Oh, he saw it.
You didn't see it?
Who reads that stuff?
Apparently you.
How many copies do you think he bought?
I don't read that stuff. I focus on work. I focus on getting things done.
You know, it's not just the press, though, that you've been absent from. I mean, I have a list of the events that you have missed.
Which ones?
Well, you want a few. The Urban Land Institute. You were scheduled to speak before 6,000 people.
I had the flu that week.
Sure you did.
Dog ate his homework?
China SF conference that was also there. They were counting on you. The Silver Spur Awards luncheon.
That was the only one I missed that I actually knew about. No, I took
2,000 people.
After I think you're focused on the Spur. I actually wish I had made. I was sick as a dog.
Oh, I was so sick that entire year.
He is such a pathological liar.
This is a fun little trip in the Wayback Machine. Thanks, listeners, and thank you, YouTube.